Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive into AI for personal finance. We're going right to the source for this one, talking to the app developers to find out how AI can revolutionize the way we all manage our money.
It's an exciting time to be involved in this field for sure. Seeing AI go from, science fiction to an everyday tool, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so we've all seen those basic budgeting apps, right? But AI finance is going way beyond just, tracking your expenses.
Definitely. Like, remember when those apps were basically just spreadsheets on your phone? Well, AI is taking things to a whole new level.
So it's more than just, seeing where your money's going. It's actually about getting some, proactive advice and insights.
Exactly. It's like having a personal financial advisor right in your pocket, working for you 24/7.
I mean, I actually do track my expenses.
Yeah.
I'm pretty diligent about categorizing everything, but then what? Just seeing all those numbers doesn't really tell me what to do.
That's where AI comes in. It can analyze your spending habits for you, identify areas where you might be overspending, and even suggest ways to save more effectively.
Okay, so besides the basic budgeting stuff, what are some of the other cool features that AI is bringing to the table? Like, what's the magic here?
Well, there's biometric authentication for one, so you can forget about remembering all those complicated passwords. AI can use fingerprint scanning or even facial recognition to keep your financial data secure.
Right, and that plays into, that feeling of being overwhelmed by managing your finances. It's like one less thing to worry about. And your information is safe.
Exactly. And speaking of making things easier, imagine actually having a conversation with your finances.
Really?
Yeah, with AI-powered conversational engines, you can literally just ask your app questions like, hey, what's my credit card balance? Or how much did I spend on groceries last month? And you'll get instant answers.
Wait, so the app can actually understand what I'm asking, even if I'm not, using perfect grammar or financial jargon?
Yep. It's all thanks to natural language processing and understanding, or NLP and NLU.
That's really impressive.
It is. And for people who aren't, super comfortable with traditional banking interfaces, this kind of conversational approach can be a lot more approachable and user-friendly.
Okay. And let's be honest, who actually enjoys manually entering all those expenses?
No way.
But AI can even handle that with receipt recognition.
You got it. The app can use optical character recognition, or OCR, to read the information on your receipts and automatically categorize your expenses. No more spreadsheets or calculators.
Wow.
The machine learning models behind this technology are incredibly sophisticated. They can handle all kinds of receipt formats, from handwritten notes to blurry scans. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. I'm definitely picturing a much less stressful end of the month for future me. I was reading about Mobidev, the company that develops apps. They have an interesting take on all this with their family finance app called Pocket Account.
Yes. They've really focused on making AI accessible and beneficial for families, and they use Flutter for development, which means the app works seamlessly on both iOS and Android.
Well, that's clever. Makes it accessible to a much wider audience.
Exactly. And they've put a lot of thought into the user interface and experience, or UI/UX, to make it really intuitive for families to use. Managing finances together can be challenging, so they've tried to simplify things with features like automated budget allocation and customizable access for different family members.
That's great. I imagine that takes a lot of the stress out of shared finances. But wouldn't that require syncing with everyone's bank accounts? Like, how does that even work?
Well, it's all about secure data sharing. Pocket Account and other apps like it integrate with your bank accounts using open banking standards. Yeah, these standards allow for secure and authorized communication between your bank and the app, so you don't have to, manually input all your transactions.
So it's like giving the app permission to peek into your bank accounts, but in a safe and controlled way.
Okay, but honestly, the whole idea of connecting my bank accounts to an app, it makes me a little nervous. What about security? I understand your concern. But remember, reputable app developers like Mobidev, they really prioritize security, they use encryption and other measures to protect your data, and they have to comply with strict financial regulations.
Okay, that does make me feel better. So let's say I'm ready to dive into the world of AI-powered finance apps. What should I be looking for when choosing one?
That's a great question. First and foremost, you want to look for an app developed by a team with proven experience in AI. It's one thing to slap a fancy label on an app. It's another thing to actually have the expertise to build, robust and reliable AI features.
So it's not just about flashy marketing. I need to make sure the developers actually know what they're doing.
Exactly. Dig a little deeper, check their track record, see if they've worked on successful AI projects in the past. You're entrusting them with your financial data, so you want to make sure they're up to the task.
All right, experience is key. What else?
Think about what features are most important to you. Do you want personalized financial advice? Are you looking for help with investments? Or are you mainly focused on budgeting and expense tracking? Different apps have different strengths, so choose one that aligns with your specific needs.
So it's like finding the perfect outfit, right? It needs to fit my style and the occasion.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try out a few different apps. Most offer free trials, so you can get a feel for their interface and features before committing.
Okay, experience, features, free trials. Got it. What about all those headlines about potential bias in AI? Is that something I need to worry about?
That's definitely a valid concern in general. But when it comes to personal finance apps, the AI is primarily focused on your individual data. It's learning from your spending habits and patterns, not from some vast data set that could introduce bias.
That makes sense. So the app is essentially creating a personalized financial profile based on my own behavior.
Which is actually kind of cool. It is. And the more you use the app, the more it learns about your preferences and goals, and the better it can tailor its recommendations to your specific situation.
You mentioned open banking earlier. Does that play a role in security and data privacy?
Absolutely. Open banking standards have actually been a game changer in terms of both security and user experience.
How so?
Well, in the past, connecting your bank accounts to a third-party app often involved sharing your sensitive login credentials, which was a major security risk.
Yeah, I would definitely be hesitant to do that.
Right. But with open banking, the app never sees your actual login details. It uses secure APIs to connect directly to your bank, so your information is never compromised.
Okay, that makes me feel much better. So it sounds like open banking is a win-win for both security and convenience.
Exactly. And it's paved the way for a whole new generation of financial apps that can provide more personalized and insightful services.
Okay, so we've talked about choosing an app, security considerations, and the power of open banking. What about the actual development process? I'm curious, what are some of the challenges that developers face when building these AI-powered finance apps?
I'd say one of the biggest challenges is making sure those AI models are accurate and reliable.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're talking about people's finances here, so accuracy is, super important.
Exactly. And financial data can be so diverse and complex, it takes a lot of work to train the AI models, to handle all the different scenarios and nuances,
So it's not as simple as just plugging in some data.
Yeah.
And letting the AI do its thing.
Right. There's a lot of fine-tuning and validation involved.
I imagine that's especially important for something like fraud detection. You don't want the AI, flagging a legitimate transaction as suspicious, or vice versa.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance between being sensitive enough to catch potential fraud, but also avoiding those false positives that can really inconvenience users.
So it sounds like building these AI-powered finance apps requires a pretty unique skill set. It's not just about coding, it's also about understanding finance and data science.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to choose apps from developers who have a proven track record in both AI and finance. They need to have the expertise to build systems that can really handle the complexity of financial data.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a much better understanding now of what goes on behind the scenes of these AI finance apps.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, AI is a powerful tool, but it's still just a tool. It's up to each of us to use it wisely and make informed financial decisions.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one key takeaway you'd want to leave our listeners with about using AI to kind of automate their finances?
I'd say embrace the potential of AI to simplify your financial life, but do it with a critical eye. Choose apps from reputable developers, prioritize security and data privacy, and always remember that you're in control.
Great advice. And on that note, we'll leave you with a question to think about. What aspect of your personal finances would you most like to automate, and why? Explore the options out there and take charge of your financial well-being. Until next time.